With earnings from Apple and Facebook among us, what's in store for tomorrow? I'll break it all down, but before that, there is the closing bell with the S&Ps finishing the day down about a quarter point. We're relatively flat on the day. You can see we saw some wild movements around the Fed press conference, up, down, and we're resting right about where we were when the interest rate decision was released at 2 p.m. Now, when we zoom out and take a look at this thing on the daily, volume upticking today. However, we're just resting near the all-time highs. So what's it going to take for us to push this thing to the next level? When we look at it on the SPX, we're coming into this week expecting 62 points. 62 up would take us to 42.42, but it seems to be we can't get above 4,200. So we're still positive on the week ever so slightly, but we will be hearing from Apple and Facebook here very soon, and if they do disappoint, we could be on the move to a negative week. Breaking 41.80 would take us into negative territory in the SPX, and ultimately 41.18 is the lower edge. However, over in the Russell 2000, it was our only index in the green, up about 0.25% today, but that's not saying much. I'm more concerned with the Nasdaq, and when we take a look at the Nasdaq, today the Nasdaq is down about 0.33%. It's trying to get going right near all-time highs, and yesterday we heard from Google and Microsoft. We take a look at Google. Google was up over 3%, had some nice earnings, and got a good pop from ad revenue. But when we take a look at Microsoft, it was down about 3%. It had good earnings, but the street was expecting a bit more from Microsoft, so that was a wash between the two. We'll be hearing from Facebook here very soon. We take a look at this thing. I don't think it's been announced yet, as well as Apple. We take a look at this thing. No action here. They'll be reporting here very soon, and then we'll have Amazon in tomorrow's tape. Amazon is near all-time highs, and there's rumors of a potential stock split. So if Amazon does do that and they lower their price, it could attract some new investors. I mean, Tesla did it, and look how high Tesla got after a 5-to-1 split. It hit 900, pulled back, it's still at 700. But if they didn't split, the price probably wouldn't be at these current levels. But when we take a look at the Big Five, today the Big Five was up 1.5%. Some nice volume coming in here. However, the XLE was our best performing sector on the day, up 3.45%. Putting in a bottom here, some nice volume. The XLE is breaking to the upside. We even had the financials today that was up about 0.4%, putting in a new all-time high with the TNX, the 10-year Treasury yield, down today. You can see they pulled back a bit in the bonds. They were up 10 basis points. However, they trended higher once the Fed started talking. Ultimately, XLF was in the green. However, our worst performing sector today was the XLK, down 0.9%. So the Big Five up 1.5% from Google, Facebook, and Amazon today, lifted them to 1.5%. However, broader tech was down 0.93%. You even see healthcare down about 1/3%, with the industrials down 0.2%. Ultimately, when we take a look at the volatility futures, today they were down 0.3%, but it's the VVIX we want to look at here, and the VVIX today was up 1.2%. You can see we saw a nice pop into lunch, and we were getting a little boost at the bell. However, it got whacked back down. So ultimately, seeing what volatility does overnight is going to be something to keep our eyes on. So the things to look out for tomorrow will be Apple, Facebook, as well as what volatility wants to do. Apple and Facebook will have some pull in the Nasdaq, as it did finish red today. So some good earnings from Apple and Facebook could give the technology space what it needs to go higher. But let's move on over and take a look at our dollar index and see what's going on in the commodities. Taking a look at the dollar, it's down about 36 basis points. We look at it intraday, and it just fell off a cliff come the interest rate decision. So what did that do for gold? Well, gold saw a nice uptick, sitting at $17.81. When we look at gold on a daily, it's still struggling to get some bids underneath it. Can we get above that 1800 level? If so, we could be ticking to 1820, then 1840. But let's get over 1800 first. And over in crude oil, today was up 1.38%. Back-to-back days in crude oil was a big reason why we saw the XLE up today, as well as Bitcoin. Taking a look at Bitcoin, and it's actually erupting right now, up 2.4%. We look at it intraday, it's seeing a very nice pop at 56,000. Bitcoin is flying. We take a look at some of my charts, and this is going to be the Coinbase chart. So at 56.2, we are roaring. Are we going to get to 59.4? That's in my Coinbase chart. However, over in the Binance chart, 54.4 is a Fibonacci, and we were hugging it for about the past day or so. So this is around the 1 trillion line, and we are marching higher. 56.2, 57.9 should give it some stress. And over in the Bitstamp, you can see that crossover May 2nd. Holding this line is key. That's about a 1 trillion line. And we are just breaking to the upside at 56.4. Bitcoin is booming. I'm wondering what's got announced here, but ultimately, load the dips, and this is something that is still undervalued, and I think it has a lot more room to run, and this entire space is undervalued if you ask me. So just taking a look at the total crypto market space, it's sitting at about 2.08 trillion. So how high are we going to go in here when we put this on a daily? I really think that we're going to see at least 2.74 trillion here in the total space. So the question becomes, how much dominance is that going to be? Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a lot of other altcoins that can gain some of the pie. Very hard for the stock market breakdown. So with Apple and Facebook's earnings on the way, I'm seeing Apple tick higher right now, as well as Facebook. So that's a good sign for the Nasdaq heading into tomorrow. We saw the VVIX positive, which is a bit concerning, but if Apple and Facebook can deliver, I think that's enough to push the Nasdaq higher. With Amazon on deck tomorrow, we'll have to see what they have to report. But tomorrow morning, the only thing I'm seeing that's market moving is a GDP growth number, quarter over quarter. That'll be coming out at 8:30, so we'll have to keep our eyes on that. Maybe that can boost the market higher, but let's see if we can get over 4,200 in the S&P. But if you watch this far, don't forget to leave a like. It means a lot when you guys show some support. And if you're watching for the first time, I do these breakdowns daily. Show some love and hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot if you guys can do that. Any comments or questions for me, leave it down below and I'll get back to you. But on that note, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Have a great night. Take care. Peace!